Did you know that Leapers really hate fire? I'll demonstrate on our Leaper boy here in just a second, but first, I want to explain what we're doing today. I'm breaking down all of the weaknesses that each of the arc has, and I'm not talking about weak spots, I'm talking about weaknesses to certain grenades or specific strategies. For example, this Leaper behind me really doesn't like fire. The Rocketeer also has a pretty interesting weakness, so does the Bastion and Bombardier, which we'll get in later on in this video. I'll kind of miss out some of the arc, obviously, because the Snitch, the Pop, the Fireball, the Tick, they're all pretty easy to take down, but I will cover some interesting strategies for the Wasp and the Hornet too, in case you need those. So let's start with our Leaper boy. Yeah, he really doesn't like fire. I mean, who does? Check this out. Yeah, that was pretty easy. Now, just to showcase that it's not a fluke, we did it on another Leaper, and this time it went down even quicker. In fact, if he stands in the fire too long, he kind of just doesn't know what to do and falls on the ground and gives up, you know? I've heard of stop, drop, and roll before, but I haven't heard of stop, drop in the flames and die, but apparently that's what Leapers like to do. So yeah, fire is a really good way to take out Leapers. Just bring some fireball burners or the blaze rods and you're going to be sorted. Now, what about the Rocketeer? Well, grab a Hornet Driver or a Showstopper grenade, throw it at the Rocketeer. It will be stunned temporarily. You've now got 10 seconds to get on top of the Rocketeer and ride it into the sunset. And as you're flying through the air, you'll get some nice hits on its thrusters. Okay, maybe not that second part, but the Showstopper or the Hornet Driver is really effective at bringing the Rocketeer down out of the sky, which gives you a nice chance at shooting its thrusters. The Rocketeer will be disabled for 10 seconds, so keep that in mind. Now, trying to get one of these grenades to actually hit the Rocketeer is the challenging part, and sometimes it can go pretty wrong. And in experimenting to find out what the Rocketeer's easiest strategies are, I did die a few times. So if you really need to deal with a Rocketeer quickly and quietly, this is the way to do it. But you're going to need to be like Kobe and hit those nades really effectively. Kobe doesn't throw grenades, but you get the point. And eventually, yeah, you're going to have a nice time. But if you miss those grenades, you've wasted them, firstly. And secondly, the Rocketeer's not going to be very happy at you. The best strategy for the Rocketeer then is to bring in the big guns. The Wolfpack and one Hullcracker shot is enough to take it down. Quick, clean, and quiet. Obviously, not everyone's going to be running around with the Wolfpack and the Hullcracker, so yeah, I mean, a couple Wolfpacks would do the job, or just a lot of Pharaoh shots. You're just going to have to focus on these thrusters and whittle it down bit by bit over time. Right, now we move on to the Bombardier. Now, you might already know that there's a weak spot on the back of the Bombardier and the Bastion, so if you can get close enough before it's aggroed on you, just throw a few snap hook grenades or trigger nades if you have them. Whatever's nice and sticky will take it down. You need to really get this point here. If it's a grenade that bounces off, it's not going to do so well. But this is a really effective way of taking the Bombardier down really quickly. This works better on the Bombardier because you have more of a chance to get up nice and close to it before it fires its missiles at you. With the Bastion, it's a little trickier because when you're fighting the Bastion, if you get a bit too close and it catches you, you're going to have a horrible time. Now, there is another strategy we can use with both the Bastion and the Bombardier if you don't have the right nades for it, and it's actually quite a lot simpler than you'd first think. First, you're going to need to find a nice spot to aggro it to. So you want to be in a building or somewhere where you can peek in and out of cover. If you keep damaging the knees, eventually they will explode. And during this explosion, they'll actually be temporarily disabled. At this point, take whatever weapon else that you have and just lay in as many bullets as you can during this time, because they're not going to shoot you during this moment. So you've got a really nice kind of window of opportunity to do as much damage as humanly possible. And you can rinse and repeat with this strategy, and they do come down fairly quickly. All right, now let's create a scenario. What if there was a Leaper and a Rocketeer? Or maybe a Leaper and a Bombardier? How are you going to deal with both of them at the same time? Well, how about you bring in a Lornade and throw the Lornade on the Leaper and then the bombardier will fire its missiles onto the Leaper. So it will do all of the hard work for you. Yeah, Lornades can be used to attack other Ark. They'll fight each other. If you've got two Lornades, maybe you could have a little bit of a battle and make them fight it out. It's pretty awesome, I'm not going to lie. Now we're moving on to the Wasp and the Hornet. I've left these to the last because, I mean, they're the least threatening. However, after all my hours of play, the one Ark I hate to see the most is the Wasp, because all of the other ones you can kind of actively avoid, but once the Wasp is on you, it is on you. It's like the honey badger of Ark Raiders. It's just so aggressive despite it being so weak. It doesn't realize how weak and tiny it is, and it will cause you so much pain and suffering. So when I first started playing Ark Raiders, I thought we'd just shoot the wings down, 2 wings are dead, and then it will fly down to the ground and explode. That does work, but when you shoot out one of these wings or the thrusters, it's destabilized and it flies around really unpredictably, but it's still firing at you during this time. It doesn't chill out, you know, it just keeps going. And the problem with this is it becomes even harder to shoot. So the most effective way to deal with the Wasp is to deal with it before it deals with you. If you see it in the area and you feel like it's about to aggro on you, just shoot into its main body. Don't shoot its thrusters. Shoot its main body. It will just take 3 anvil shots to destroy. It doesn't have much arc armor, so any weapon will take it down pretty quickly. You don't have to worry about wobbling it about in the sky. It's just a lot easier. Now, the Hornet. In the past, I would try to shoot the back thrusters, right? The least armored part. It seemed like the easiest thing to do. But that's actually kind of tricky in a lot of situations. One of the better ways to deal with the Hornet, and this works with pretty much most weapons as long as they're not light ammo weapons, is to just shoot down the front plating. It actually goes down a lot quicker than you think. Even with like a Rattler, shoot down the front plating, shoot through the thruster behind the front plating, and then just keep firing the thruster behind that. So you'll take down 2 thrusters on one side of the Hornet, and it will drop down to the ground a lot quicker. I guess the point I wanted to make with this video is there are many different methods you can use to take down the Ark that don't rely on just using your weapons, especially when it comes to the different gadgets you can get in the game, whether it's the explosives you craft or find, or just the Ark versions, right? Like the Hornet driver, the Wasp driver. These actually work really effectively against the Ark as well. And I'm sure there's going to be many awesome creative ways to take down the Ark more effectively. Now, what about the Queen? Well, I will attempt to solo the Queen and figure out the best strategy possible there. It's probably not going to be very easy though. Thanks for watching. If you want some more tips about how to beat every Ark, there's a video on screen now, alongside some other Ark Raiders tip videos. Cheerio.